Shalom, shalom. Let's get this room started, family. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Let's get this room filled up so we can get started. Let me check these likes. All right, family, let's get it going. Let's get the likes going. Shalom, sis, Sister Tanya. Always great to see you. Always. Like I said, family, let's like, share, comment. Let's get this word out there. We're going to get started as soon as we get this room rolling. Steezy, what's up, family? All praises. All praises. Good to see you, man. Hope everything is all blessed. Right? Y'all see the title, right? Let me share my screen. Here we go. It's the title for the day, right? Because we taking the commandments of God over the traditions of men, which, you know, our family members and our forefathers, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, through us going off and being wicked, was led to sway into the traditions of men rather than keep the commandments of God. So we're going to go over that, right? Shalom, Alton. Always good to see you, fam. Right? Yeah, because you already know, King. You already know what's up. You know, pull up on your loved one sometime, right? You know where I'm at. All right. I see we got some peoples in here. I see we got peoples in the room, but I don't see no, activity in the comments from some peeps. Let's get these comments going in the chat. Let's get these likes up so I can get this thing cracking. Right? Traditions of men. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go over that. I'm going to start out first and foremost. I want to give Call Halal, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's all praise to the Most High in the name of the only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? Yahweh Shai Hamashiach in the Hebrew. Once again, this is Officer Yaziar from the sect of Sicari, the Long Beach WOLFPAC division, right? Coming to you with another edition of the Couch Captivity Created. And y'all see the title today, right? Let me bring that up. Let me bring that banner up, right? Commandments of God over traditions of men. We're going to get some examples. And, you know, the reason I figured on doing this topic today is because a conversation I had with one of the brothers, you know, sometimes brothers, you know, not brothers that's not even in the camp, you know, they'll hit me up from time to time with a question here or there, or they want to go over some scripture. And this was one of them, right? Because I think maybe one of the family members was asking for some clarification on some things that maybe that particular family member, you know, had a Christian slant, but this brother, you know, he walking in this truth and he trying to build his family up in this truth, you know. So we had a discussion and it just reminded me, you know, from my perspective, it's one of those parables of Christ. And for those of y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, it's going to be Matthew 15 we're going to focus on, right? talking about the traditions of men, and then we're going to spin off a couple scriptures from there. But, you know, it seemed so plain as day, you know, since someone had told me the breakdown, but I had to remember back to before someone blessed me with that understanding, and the Most High saw fit to open my eyes and my ears to it. It might have been something I got tripped up on, but it's a real easy understanding, and it's rooted in the unchangeable fact that Yahushua was without sin, without guile, without sin. So nothing that he said would ever go against the word of God, right? It's all got to harmonize. So it's not that Yahushua says something that allow brothers to sin, right? What's that? Check my bank. I'm gonna check on that, sis. You know, YouTube be hating, man, because you know we'll monetize the videos and then they'll take it down. But you know what, sis? We appreciate, you know, your contributions, but even better than YouTube, if you want to support, sis, you see that Cash App on the scroll, $ Bazak. If you got Cash App, you can hit us up there. You know what I'm saying? All praises, sis. We appreciate you looking out. But yeah, YouTube, sometimes they be hating. They don't like the content, especially when we got some good content going. They throttle us down. You feel me? But I'll check into that, sis, and let you know. I'll keep you posted. All right? All praises. But yeah, like I said, anytime you read red letter, it's going to be in perfect harmony with the Torah and with the prophets. You feel me? Christ himself said it, right? The law and the prophets. I come in the volume of the book. So there's no conflicts of interest between the New Testament, especially red letter, and the Old Testament, right? And this is why Yahushua spoke in parables, because brothers that was wicked, right, that was out there sinning and not really following the commandments, but you know, they worship men rather than God because they wicked, right? And you got to understand where a lot of this come from. We're gonna get to that. But first, I'm gonna start out with a scripture. I'm gonna start out with I'm gonna go to Proverbs 14. Right? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And this is what we got to understand. You know, I'm from the dirty South, right? And so I come from that AME, you know, that African Methodist Episcopalian deep South, Southern Baptist, whatever you want to call it, right? Where everybody acting holier than thou and sanctified, but they wicked as hell because they don't keep the commandments. And it shows in daily life. It shows in all these mega churches, right? And you know, even in our families. Because, you know, they think they right. They think Creflo got the breakdown. They think TD Jakes got the breakdown. They think Joyce Myers got the breakdown, right? But it ain't so. Because none of them is teaching this truth. You feel me? Especially them heathens. All right. So, you know what I'm saying? What is Isaiah 8:20? Right? Because it ain't no light in them. And the law is the light. You see what I'm saying? That's why Yahushua said, if you want to enter in, if you want everlasting life, keep the commandments. Because he did his Father's will perfectly, without blemish. Okay? So just remember this. Proverbs is a lot of wisdom. Remember this. There's a way that seems right unto man, but in the end thereof are the ways of death, right? You choose life or you choose death. The way of death is sin. You see what I'm saying? So look, let's go to Matthew 15. And I'm gonna do some textual comparison too, as well, because a lot of Christians, they just go here and get all confused because they looking for a reason to sin. A lot of Christians go out here to this chapter and pull out one verse and try to justify eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? I done heard these pork chop pastors talking about, well, I'm going to have my pig. I'm going to eat my pork. Christ said I can eat pork. Man, that's blasphemy. That's blasphemous, right? We're going to get some understanding though. All right, let's bring that up. We're going to go to Matthew 15. I'm going to start from the top, right? And what's important is just, take note of the title. And then they got a little reference to Mark 7. A lot of Christians prefer, if they use the KJV, to go to Mark 7, and I'm going to show you why. Well, I'm going to start with Matthew, because Matthew was a contemporary of Christ. He walked in that time. You see what I'm saying? Mark was not a direct contemporary, and a lot of his accounts are secondhand or even third-hand accounts, right? So we're going to start with the source. We're going to do some comparisons between Matthew and Mark, and also some different translations like the ESV or the NLT or the NKJV, so on and so forth, right? We're going to get into that. But here we go, tradition and commandment. So it says, Matthew chapter 15, verse 1. Then came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders, right? The tradition of the elders, for they wash not their hands when they eat bread. Okay. Now, we're going to get into the textual comparison, but just keep, I want to make a key point right here. The Pharisees is going up to Yahushua and saying, why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? Meaning the tradition of the men that run their sect, right? Why they not talking about commandments? What Yahushua said. What Yahushua answered them. He said, but he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Ooh, cut to the sinew. That's what Yahushua constantly did from the age of 12, right? From the age of 12, Yahushua was in the synagogues cutting these Pharisees and these scribes, these so-called doctors of the law. You see what I'm saying? Because he came to straighten them out and show them the true, not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law, and how to worship the Most High God and not worship men, which is what our elders fell into. And especially when you get into some of the Talmudic writings, right, which actually is heavily influenced by the Babylonian culture, because, a lot of that was birthed during the Babylonian captivity, this Talmudic writings, right? And if you want to, I'm not by far, I'm no expert on the Talmud, but if you want to get some heavy understanding of the Talmud and how to cut some of that wickedness that comes out of it, just look up Deacon Sicariiwatr Talmud on YouTube. A bunch of powerful information. Deacon went in on that, right? I'm gonna give you just a little glance, right, of some information to start out with. And let's go back to Matthew 15 first, and let's say the Pharisees pull up on Yahushua and said, verse 15 and verse 2, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders, for they wash not their hands when they eat bread? Where does this come from? It comes from Talmudic wickedness, right? Ritualism, traditions of men. And I'm gonna go to a Wikipedia. You can Google this and dig deeper yourself, right? But what it says, hand washing in Judaism. It says Jewish law and custom are prescribed, and custom prescribe ritual hand washing in a number of situations, right? This practice is generally known by the Hebrew term netilat yadayim, right? Which literally means taking up of the hands. The Talmud, right? The Talmud used the requirement of hand washing in Leviticus 15:11. The person who is touched by one who has a discharge without rinsing his hands in water must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and they will be unclean until the even. See, this is talking about an actual law. When you touch someone that's unclean in this situation, you're supposed to wash your hands and clothes and bathe, right? But they take it an extra biblical, right, understanding of it in the Talmud. That's why we know the Talmud is wicked, because when you add or take away from the law, it's pure wickedness, because that's a sin, right? So it says a person, blah, 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 they take it from here as a hint for general hand washing law, right? Using ashmata, a biblical hint, rather than an explicit requirement, right? So they take a piece of the truth and then they extrapolate, right, from that. And then right here, this is what the small hats do. It says, before eating bread, halakha requires the hands to be washed before eating a meal containing bread. This washing was initially known as mayim rishonim, first waters, but is now commonly known simple as netilat yadayim, hand washing. This only applies to bread made from one of the 5 chief grains: wheat, cultivated barley, spelt, wild barley, and oats. The washing is performed by pouring water from a cup over each hand, right? Now here's the key point. The Gemara of the Babylonian Talmud, right? The Gemara is books of the Talmud, right? The Gemara is an essential component of the Talmud, comprising a collection of rabbinical analyses, right? So all these mishnahs and so on and so forth. And like I said, I'm just going to give you some surface information on this, but definitely if you want to get into this understanding about Talmudic influence and traditions of men, Google on YouTube Deacon Sicari Talmud or Deacon Sicari Mishnah, right? You're going to find a treasure trove of breakdowns, all right? But this is key. The Gemara of the Babylonian Talmud contains homiletic descriptions of the importance of the practice, including an argument that washing before meals is so important that neglecting it is tantamount to unchastity, right? That's crazy. And risk divine punishment in the form of sudden destruction of property. Just pure mythology, right? Pure mythology right here. Has nothing to do with the word of God. So these dudes, these scribes and Pharisees, got the nerve to run up on Yahushua and start trying to cut him with these traditions of men, and these wicked traditions of men at that, right? Because it's heavily influenced by pagan Babylonian culture and worship and idolatry. You see what I'm saying? So we know that's going off. You feel me? So Yahushua cut him. He's like, nah, nigga, y'all you talking to me about traditions of men? Y'all niggas are sinners. Why you don't keep the Most High's commandments? Right? He said, but he answered unto them and said, unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandments of God by your traditions? Right? Because it's idolatry. It's influenced by idolatry. It's wickedness. And he continues on. For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and thy mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die to death. These are commandments. Yahushua is running off commandments to these dudes, right? Verse 5, it says, but ye say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, by whosoever thou mightest be profited by me. Like, this is another example of wicked people being, self-centered and narcissistic and disrespecting their parents because they think they God's gift to the world, and not understanding that God said, honor your mother and your father. And it's not just your mother and your father that gave, got together and conceived you, and your mother that gave birth to you, but the ones who came before them. You see what I'm saying? This is an important commandment that the Western society, right, the daughter of Babylon, has forgot. Because look at how these kids behave. They disrespect their parents. They bullying their parents. Why? Because the scripture said it's going to be like that. In this wicked time, it's going to be the child going to rule over the parent. The woman going to rule over the man. Everything going to be upside down. You see what I'm saying? This is how we know that wicked men is in rule. And that's why we was in captivity to the Romans, and we had these wicked Pharisees You know, there was some that broke ranks, but a lot of these brothers were wicked, and Christ was continuously cutting them, right? It says, verse 6, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition, right? Because these Pharisees put themselves at such high esteem, like they above everybody, even their own parents. It says, ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, the people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, right? This is letting you know Yahushua is quoting Isaiah, so you know that Isaiah, right, through the Spirit, is prophesying time and time again of what's to come, about salvation and about repentance. Okay, you're gonna see Yahushua alliterated too all throughout Isaiah and Jeremiah and you know, all throughout the prophets, because he said I come in the volume of the book. But Christians won't see this. They're gonna go past all of this and get to the one verse that some pork chop pastor that's out there sinning beyond measure, trying to get them a breakdown off of one verse, because they don't have no understanding of the law or the prophets, right? It says, let's go back to verse 7. Ye hypocrites, well did Esaias or Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people drive nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, right? And you know, we can find that in Isaiah, right? If some of the soldiers in the chat, go ahead and post that for the brothers and sisters in the comments in the chat session that might want to look up that reference, right? Put that precept in your quiver. It says, verse 9, but in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men, right? They teaching the commandments of men as doctrine, just like all these pork chop pastors, hooping and hollering, talking about speaking in tongues and shouting, and then yet they got a Christmas tree and wreaths all over the church in the wintertime. And Christmas has nothing to do with Christ. It's a Babylonian tradition, a pagan tradition, right? And then they got Easter bunny egg hunts on the church property. Man, you can't make it up, bro. This is real life, what we dealing with. And this is our elders that have failed us, right? They have failed us because they have been in captivity so long, they've taken on the traditions of men and the traditions of their oppressors, even worse, and try to weave that into the word, which is pure idolatry and blasphemy, right? Verse 10, and he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth the man. Now here we go, okay? Christians, and see, Matthew is not as explicitly tainted as Mark 7, but we're going to look at Mark 7, right? And then we're going to look at some textual comparison. Show you where Christians go wrong. You see? All right, let's compare these. Mark 7, verse 11 versus Matthew 7, verse 11, right? So in Matthew 7, verse 11, it says, but ye say, if a man shall say, Salaki, what is that? Salaki, was it 11? Salaki. Yes, different numbers in Mark and Matthew. I'm tripping. I got to go read up a little bit. All right. So in Mark 7, I believe it's 14. Where is it? Right here, 15. Okay. Because the Mark and Matthew give the same account, but like I said, Matthew is the contemporary. Mark is given a second-hand, even sometimes a third-hand account. But right here, Mark 7, verse 15. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but things which come out of him, those are they that defile a man, right? So you see, it's kind of in the pocket, but we're going to keep going. All right. Go back to, let me go back to Matthew. Right. So Yahushua, you know, his disciples come, and the disciples say, then came, verse 12, then came his disciples and said unto him, knowest thou that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying? Right? Because Christ knew he cut them. But he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. Right? Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. So he going in on them, right? And then he got his right-hand man here, Peter, right? Then answered Peter and said unto him, declare unto us this parable. And Yahushua said, are ye also yet without understanding? Like, come on, Pete, right? Do ye not yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly and is cast out into the draught? Okay. But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, right? Your la'ah, your mind, right? The wickedness, it starts in the mind. You feel me? Okay. But those things which proceeded out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies, all sins, right? Christ is listing all sins here, right? These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. You see what I'm saying? So let's go and compare that to Mark, because on the surface, the KJV of Matthew, you know, you can't really just straight up say, oh, I can eat pork, right? But let me show you how Christians twist things. They'll go to Mark, right? And then they'll stretch, right? Pretty much he's saying the same thing. He said, are ye still, or so without understanding also, you do not perceive, right? So, but here's the part. Because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the draught. And in case you don't know what the draught is, it's the plumbing, right? Your digestive system, it's got an entrance and an exit, right? Purging all meats. So they go, oh, see, all meats. Look, Christ said we can eat pork. Come on, man, right? So you see it's similar, but it's a little bit tainted, right? Now let's go even further than that. Let's get another translation. Let's say the ESV. Let's look at that in Mark. Verse 16, I believe it was, right? (16) 17, right here. Okay, this is Mark 7 and 19 in the ESV. Now watch this. It's pretty much the same. It says, then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him? Okay, since it enters not his heart, but his stomach, and is expelled. And then in parentheses, what do you call these? Right? It's not parentheses. Yeah, parentheses, right? Thus he declared all foods clean. Man, if you don't, come on now. Now let's look. What did they use to translate the ESV? What did they use to translate the? There's a different version of, you know, the Greek text that was used for the ESV versus the KJV, right? So how do you get this different of a translation? One says somehow magically, in parentheses, thus he declared all foods clean. Where did this come from? It's being tainted by traditions of men, obviously. You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't say it in the KJV, right? It does not say that in the KJV. And let's look at the Greek. Let's look at the Greek. When he talks about the heart of man, right? Let's look at this. Those things proceeded from out. Let's look at the text, right? You know, I'm not going to bore you with breaking down all kind of Greek because, you know, I would be too slow going word for word. But all of these Greek words in the original manuscript, which if you look up here, it's just breaking down. It's breaking down the original text, right? But if you go through these word for word and look in the original manuscript, which this is the Textus Receptus, right? Let's go to Mark and let's look, right? This is translated from the morphological GNT, right? If you look at, compare the Greek, neither one of these, right, says that. Let's look for that little parenthesis in the Greek. Okay, so thus he declared all foods clean. This part right here, right, is not in the Textus Receptus, right? It's from the morphological GNT, not the Textus Receptus. And what does morphological mean? Just like it sounds. They done morphed it into something else. The Good News translation done morphed it into something else. Why? Because they use what they call a dynamic translation and they interpret their own understanding into it, right? So you just gotta take these cues. When you see something that don't make sense, the first thing you want to do is you want to do a textual comparison, especially in the New Testament, right? Because the Greek was translated from Greek and Latin and all the Vulgate and all this before it got to English. And, you know, the Textus Receptus is what the KJV is primarily based on. And it's one of the, I would say one of the more reputable ones, but it's not without fault either, right? For example, we're going to go back to Matthew, but let's go to, like, for example, Acts 12. The word Easter appears in Acts 12 and 4, right? Right here. Go to Acts 12 and 4. It's another example of traditions of men influencing the translation. See what I'm saying? Acts 12 and 4, it says, and when he had apprehended him, talking about Yahushua, he put him in prison and delivered him to the 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Now, let me explain to you, for one, just how off this is, because according to the Christians, right, Easter Sunday is supposed to represent the 3rd day after he was buried, right? The 3rd day after he was buried and rose. That's supposed to be Easter, right? According to Christians. But that don't make no sense, because they was going to take him out from the prison, right, after Easter. So how could they take him out to be crucified on the same day that he's supposed to resurrect 3 days later? It's already going off, right? But what you got to do is you got to look at the word. Let's look, Textus Receptus, right? Let's look at the actual word for Easter. Let's see. Pashka or Pesach, right? But Pashka in the Greek is Passover. Let's get that. And this makes perfect sense if we use the actual meaning, right? Biblical usage. The Paschal sacrifice, which is accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old from Egypt. The Passover, right? The Paschal lamb, i.e. the lamb the Israelites were accustomed to slay and eat on the 14th day of the month of Nisan, the first month of their year, in memory of the day on which their fathers, preparing to depart from Egypt, were bidden by God to slay and eat the lamb and sprinkle their doorposts with its blood, that the destroying angel, seeing the blood, might pass over their dwellings. Christ crucified is likened to the slain paschal lamb, right? The sacrificial lamb. That's another, expression when talking about Christ, right? It's because he was crucified on the Passover, right? He wasn't resurrected on Easter. That's foolishness. He was crucified on the Passover. So you understand the ridiculousness of this? If you just look at it for the English, you got to go into these words. You got to start going into the definitions of some things and start doing textual comparisons. And let's see, just out of curiosity, how some of these other ones translate that. ESV 12:4. Okay, let's go to Acts 12 ESV, because Easter is not in the ESV. In the ESV, it actually says Passover, which makes sense. You see what I'm saying? So, the KJV is overall a pretty strong translation, but sometimes the ESV get it right. Sometimes the NLT is a little easier to understand. Sometimes the GNT, you just got to really root yourself in the original text, right? Which would be the Greek primarily in the New Testament, and the Hebrew in the Old Testament, and understand that traditions of men have filtered its way into even some of these translations, right? So right there, Passover, clear as day. But in the other version, in the KJV, clear as day, it's Easter. So that's a little side note on how to do textual comparison to work your way around these, I call them pitfalls, because it's not changing the word, right? Because we can refer to the original manuscripts to get the true word. It's just men putting their influence on things, right? Now, back to Matthew, right? Back to Matthew. Let's go to one more translation and see. All right. Let's see, maybe the NLT. Just to get an idea of what we're working with, right? See, this is Matthew 15 in the NLT, and even the title is different. It says Jesus teaches about inner purity. Well, don't that sound Christian? Oh, I'm filled with the Holy Spirit in the inside. Man, come on. All right. If you don't cut it out, let's see what it says here. All right. Anything that you eat passes through the stomach and then goes into the sewer. But words you speak come from the heart. That's what defiles you. All right. It goes on. And yeah, it doesn't even really go into it too much in the NLT, right? But you can see how the wording is different. The translations are different. So, use these tools like the Blue Letter and go through some of these common translations. Let's look at one other one, the NIV, for this one. Just giving y'all an example. That which defiles, right? All right. Okay. Do you not see whatever into the mouth was coming? But that comes up. So yeah, that's pretty in pocket. But we know that the sore thumb right here that Christians will go to for this verse, in particular in Matthew, will be this one, the ESV. Salakia, the ESV, and then we'll go to Mark 7. So that's just an example, Akim and Aqua, of don't let a Christian trap you up with these eisegeses, They'll go try to pull one verse and trip you up on something and build their whole premise on a fallacy, because all you got to do is understand in your heart and know for a fact that Yahushua ain't gonna say nothing that goes against the law. You see what I'm saying? Point blank, not gonna happen. So let's go into this. What else am I gonna go? Right. So just out of curiosity, in the chat, I know we all got similar upbringing. You know, a lot of our family is Christian or call themselves Christian, but most of their understanding of any kind of salvation is based on the Bible. Whether they read it or not, they heard it from somebody, right? So in the chat, won't you list one of your common traditions of men that your family, you know, we done mentioned Easter, right? We mentioned Yahushua was talking about the washing of the hands. We know where that comes from, right? That comes from our ancient elders with having Babylonian influence and writing these Talmudic Mishnahs and Gemaras, right? So aside from Easter, what are some other so-called religious days, right? Christmas, right? That's a tradition of man. It has nothing to do with Yahushua. But other than the two big ones, Easter and Christmas, right? Let's think outside the box. Think of some other things that your family will swear is Jesus in the flesh quoting, but has nothing to do with the Bible. Let me give y'all a few seconds to think on that. Because I got a couple of doozies, man. Because like I said, I come from the dirty South where, you know, these folks, some of these folks act sanctified, but, you know, they dirty rags. They hypocrites. You know what I'm saying? And that's what turned a lot of people away from the church, is because they see the hypocrisy. And deep down inside, they don't want to be conflicted. Some people is wicked and don't mind being conflicted because they happy being sinners, right? Lakad, right? No cussing. Good one, King, right? Because what's the Bible say about cursing, right? Hold on. Vain curses. I believe it's Paul writing that. Vain cursings. Where is that? And Salakia cursing. Is it vain cursing? So if one of y'all soldiers got that precept for me, throw it in the chat. I think I know where it is. Let me double check. Yeah, Romans 3, right? Let's get that, Lakar. Romans 3. All praise. I see some good ones. And some of y'all is in the spirit because y'all going right down the list of what I was thinking about, right? Romans, let's get another good one that Lakar brought up, right? Romans 3. Man, if this ain't one of the doozies, right? Right off the top of my list, through the spirit, Lakar. Right? So Romans 3 and 14. All right, so we'll start at 13, right? Romans 3 and 13. So it says, their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues, they have used deceit. The poison of asp, snakes, is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Oh, Lord, if my grandma hadn't literally, I'm talking about literally, man, grandma done washed my mouth out with soap for repeating the words I heard my granddaddy and my uncle them say while they playing cards and drinking, right? Boy, don't you be cursing in this house, right? I done got whooped, boy, for saying damn or shit. You know, I ain't know no better. But this is not what that means, because we can go to the scripture and, you know, Christ calling a woman a dog is the equivalent of what they would call a pejorative, or calling Caesar a fox is the equivalent of a pejorative, right? But let's look into the definition of this word. Let's see. I haven't looked this up, but let's see what the definition say. Cursing is full of cursing. Do it mean he's saying damn and shit, or is it something else? Let's see. Cursing in the Greek, ara, G685. Let's see here. Biblical usage. A prayer, a supplication. Sound crazy, right? An imprecation, curse, malediction. Let's break some of this vocabulary down, because it's not damn and shit and some other choice words that I'm gonna leave alone right now. But an imprecation, a curse, a malediction. Malediction is literally, if you look at the two root words translated from the Latin, malediction, speak bad, right? To dictate is to speak, mal is bad, right? Bad speech, meaning you speak bad of someone, or you wish bad on someone, or you wish a curse on them. Let's look up the word imprecation. Let's see what old Strong's got to say here. Imprecation. A spoken curse. A spoken curse, like how a witch would do, how a wicked person would do. All right. She hurled her imprecations, right? But a spoken curse, meaning you cursing someone, a prayer, because let's go back here. A prayer, a supplication. So a prayer that is intended for someone to be cursed. And what's the problem, right? Because there are some prayers that curse the heathens, but right here, Paul is talking about these wicked, same thing Yahushua was doing. He's calling out these wicked brothers that's so-called high and mighty, right? He says, all right, let's go up a little bit. Romans 3:10. He's in Rome dressing brothers down, talking about, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. And we know where this comes from, right? Bonus in the chat if you can, tell where Paul getting this from, because it's as it is written, right? I'll give you a hint. Judah, tribe of Judah, all right? Okay, but 11, there is none that understandeth, there is none that seeketh after God. Verse 12, they are all gone out of the way. They're not seeking God, they are sinners. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. And it goes on, their throat is an open sepulcher. A sepulcher is, a grave, right? A tomb. With their tongues, they have used deceit. The poison of asps under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness, right? Now, just out of curiosity, let's do the translation game on this, because that's a good one. But y'all got to look at the definitions, right? Because it don't mean saying cuss words, right? And was it? Where is it? No, not one. All right. Same thing in the ESV, curses and bitterness, right? Full of curses. It's a slightly different. Did it say cursing on the other one, right? Let's make sure. Yep, see, morphological GNT, curses, cursing. See, it even, look, you gotta keep an eye on these fools, because cursing, right, is what the Strong's says in the KJV, but the actual text of the ESV says curses. It's a slight play on words, but you got to understand, in the English language, especially this modern English, that could take on a lot of different. But when you look at the definition is the same. It's the word ara. which means imprecation, right? Let's go back and see what's one more of those words. One of those big words. G685 ara, malediction. Let's see what that means. Malediction. A magical word or phrase uttered with the intention of bringing about evil or destruction. A curse, right? He muttered maledictions to himself as he trod the stone passages. All right, look at this, family. Clear as day. A magical word or phrase uttered with the intention of bringing about evil or destruction. A curse. Don't sound like damn to me, right? It sounds like you spewing curses, right? So yeah, good one, Lakai, because that was definitely one on my list, right? Let's go down the list here. All praises, sis. Look, Sister Harad, Sister Tanya Harad be in the spirit, right? Because look, hey, and I'm a little bit older than probably most of the brothers and sisters in here, but this is one of the, man, especially down south, because you got to understand, Christ drunk wine. They call Christ a wine bibber, right? They call Christ a wine bibber. See what I'm saying? Christ drunk wine. So how do our people get this how do they get this understanding that drinking wine is a sin, right? Where did they get this from? It's a tradition of men. And let me bring that out. I believe it's in Luke 7, right? It is Luke 7. All right, so in Luke 7, let me go back to the KJV. And we look, Sister Tanya, you are right in the spirit, because look, Luke 7. Luke 7, and where is it? Luke 7 is later in there. Let's see, I think it's like 30 something. Yeah, 34. Luke 7, go to 34. All right. And this is talking about Yahushua. All right. So, okay. So they trying to get at Yahushua again. They're saying, for John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say he hath the devil, right? Son of Man is come eating and drinking, and ye say, behold, a gluttonous man and a wine bibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, right? So Christ went to the ghettos, right, and talked to the lowest of low, because he was a doctor for the sick, right? He wasn't one of these holy rollers looking for the front row at the big ball, at the big feast, and with the finest garments, but not healing the people, right? He wasn't a hypocrite. But yes, Yahushua drank wine. What was one of his first miracles? He turned water into wine, right? So where do our people get that drinking is a sin, right? And exactly, sis, it's because, look, alcoholism is probably prevalent in a lot of our families, a lot of, you know what I'm saying, whether you Black, Latino, right, or Native American. Alcoholism is prevalent because when you're oppressed, right, and you're going through it, that's usually a coping mechanism. If you ain't got the money for the designer drugs, you probably go get you some malt liquor or some, you know what I'm saying, some what they call that, Boone's Farm, or some Mad Dog 2020, right? So alcoholism is probably prevalent in our culture for decades, and so it's equated with evil. You see what I'm saying? But that's a tradition of men. It's not the drink itself, it's the Overindulgence. It's a sin to overindulge in anything. Gluttony is a sin, whether it's alcohol or cake, right? So it's a twist on the word. Sis, Tanya, I actually heard one of my cousins say, because me and my cousin, right, we came to my auntie house after drinking some 40s and probably done had a blunt or two back in the day, right? And they having Bible study. And we come in there, even back then, we used to kind of try to cut them, right? We used to try to cut them and look, yes, sis, look, see, I'm 50 plus, right? My but what do you call that? The my clock about to hit another, you know what I'm saying, another digit in a couple weeks here, right? I'll be 51 soon. You see what I'm saying? So that's some old school, right? But we come home drunk and kind of clowning the Bible study, right? And my cousin said, look at y'all drunkards, right? Jesus don't like ugly, you know, these kind of things. And then one of them say, lips that touch wine will never touch mine. I said, man, ain't this? I said, well, you ain't gonna never kiss your house, or, you know, I say Jesus back then, right? You know, but it's true. Where did they get this from? It's from traditions of men. And, you know, you got to understand, like I said, the abuse of alcohol, because alcoholism was prevalent. You see what I'm saying? You know, especially in the era of the blues and this and that, where you sitting in a juke joint, right? Drinking some rock gut. And the old man come home, done gambled his money away, slept with another woman, and whoop-de-whoop, and the wife is mad, right? So we got to understand, you know, that ain't what it is. You feel me? But excellent one, sis. Excellent one. Right? What's another one? We had no cussing, right? Drinking. What else we got in here? I seen another one in here. Let me find another tradition. Well, yep. Okay, things like Thanksgiving, right? Okay, we know Thanksgiving, right? They sit around the table and pray as a family. Probably one time in the year, that wicked ass family sit all together and pray. And then as soon as they eat that idolatrous feast and get a couple drinks in them, your uncles is fighting. Nigga, I never did like you, right? Because he's still mad because he took his old lady back in high school because they wicked. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's family can't be too much different than mine. If my family sound crazy, put a 2 in the chat. But if you done been at Thanksgiving dinner when you was in the world and you got uncles and cousins fighting each other that got beef, and you got the ladies sitting there talking trash about each other, you know what I'm saying? And it's supposed to be some holy feast, and it's the one time a year you got to drag these niggas together because they can't stand each other, right? Put a 1 in the chat if your family is as goddamn bad as mine, or if I just got a wicked family. Put a 2 in the chat if you ain't never seen nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But they go Thanksgiving and we gonna pray over this food, right? Hint, hint. Pray over this food and this and that and the other. But it's wicked. It represents the slaughter of our brothers, right? The Gadites and Reubenites. You see what I'm saying? We celebrating this wicked tradition. You know what I'm saying? When I first came in this troop, my people was just steaming, piping hot at me that I'm not going to Thanksgiving no more. If that boy ain't go to Thanksgiving, right? But I'm going to go back to where I started, right? I'm going to go back to where I started. And this is why I started out with this, and I wanted to come back to it because it just holds true, right? Proverbs 14 and 12. They swear they right, right? There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. It's sin and wickedness, right? They swear they doing good, right? You got the uncle, the oldest uncle, got to sit at the head of the table, and he done cleaned up the house and made everybody dress up and act like they happy to see you, right? act like he can stand his uncle or your uncle, his brother, right? And then your aunties and your cousins, look at her. There's all kind of wickedness floating around the house. Bunch of niggas that can't stand each other because we under the curses. You see what I'm saying? But yet everybody gonna dress up and act like we is having a feast together, when in actuality, in this truth, we have a new moon feast every month. And there's nothing but love in that room, in that house. You see what I'm saying? Why you gotta wait until the white man tell you to do it after he done slaughtered your brothers? Come on now. Traditions of men is rooted in wickedness. Ain't nothing but wickedness in that, because by the time you get a couple shots, couple beers, niggas is fighting, the women is bickering, right? And the husband and the wife that can't stand each other anyway, they falling out, right? Nothing but purity wickedness. And the turkey make you sleepy anyway, right? I see some ones, see Azan, right? All right, smoke. You feel me? I feel a little bit better, right? I feel a little bit better because, you know, I was thinking for a minute, I must just got a crazy family, but nah, it's more common than you would want to understand, right? And then look, speaking of Thanksgiving dinner and praying over the food, you feel me? It's another tradition of man, praying before you eat. Give thanks. Oh man, hey, look, my pops was the master of that, boy. Hey, boy, sit down. We're gonna have supper, right? Behave yourself while I pray over this food. And he had the most beautiful prayers, right? Oh, Father God, Lord, heartfelt, right? Bless this food, whoop-de-whoop. I can almost remember verbatim his prayer because it was the same one, man. And it was the one that my granny said, right? Bless this food, Father God, that we are about to receive in your name. You know what I'm saying? So, but where is that in the Bible? Praying before you eat. It's not in there. It's not a commandment. There's nothing wrong with praying after you eat, right? Who know where that precept is about praying after you eat, right? You see? You see? Powerful Shatar Gamal. Off rib, right? Hold on. Shapop. One. One, right? To infinity. Family just like that, right? Niggas squabbing. Hey, the powerful Shatar Gamal on cue, right? This is a commandment, right? Deuteronomy 8 and 10. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given, right? That means be thankful for all of your blessings, man. Not just the meal on your plate, but the shelter over your head, the clothes on your back. When you get blessed by the Lord, you give thanks. You give him all the glory, right? You feel me? All praises. Matter of fact, I'll bring it out on screen, right? Deuteronomy 8. Deuteronomy 8. And through the Spirit, I'm going to show y'all something real quick in Deuteronomy 8. Mom brought out Deuteronomy 8 and 10. Let's go to 10 first. Then I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Show y'all another little trick, right? Deuteronomy 8 and 10. It says, Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 10. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. And this is important, right? Because if you didn't have good land, you couldn't raise no flocks. You couldn't raise no crops. So you give thanks for the Most High for giving fruit of your labor in a physical sense, right? Which doing that, following the commandments, having faith, and being diligent will give you fruits of the Spirit, right? You see how it works? You see how these things work? Man, let me tell you. And look, speaking of eating, right? Let's start here. I'm gonna go back to the KJV. I'm gonna show y'all a little bit of wordplay, you know, eat, bread, spiritual, physical. There's a lot of cohesiveness, right? When you think about it. So where is that? Luke 4. No, it's Matthew 4. Matthew 4. First quote of the Bible from Yahushua. What does he say? Matthew 4:4. Right? Matthew 4:4, he says, but he answered and said, it is written, meaning it's written down in the you know what I'm saying, in the Old Testament. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. The law and the prophets proceed out of the mouth of God. You feel me? Now look, we go back to Deuteronomy 8. Let's go back up, because we talking about, right, eating and giving thanks, right? But it's in a spiritual, it's a spiritual sense too, right? Because you can't just give thanks with your mouth and not with your heart. You feel me? Where did Christ quote this from? Right? Deuteronomy 8:3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did our fathers know, that he might make thee know that a man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. You see this? You see how this word is tied together with the physical and the spiritual? You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Christians will never understand that if they think all they got to do is have faith in Christ. Because faith without works is dead. You see what I'm saying? It's commanded for us to do the works and to have faith as well. Faith is a work. Faith is a commandment. You see what I'm saying? Faith is what sealed the covenant even before Moses gave us the law. Faith sealed the covenant. The faith of Abraham, right? But he also did the work. See what I'm saying? Makes sense, family? Right? Let's see what we got in the chat here. Let's see. Me and my oldest brother caught a head up, fade on Christmas in the neighbor's yard, right? True story, man. I done scrapped with my cousins and my, you know what I'm saying? We always scrap. We was always looking for reason to scrap, but literally, I done seen big fallouts at these wicked Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter. You know what I mean? Nothing but wickedness go around. What Alton say? I don't go home to Louisiana until after all the wicked heat. I hear you, Alton. I hear you, because you can't stand being around it. You know? Nothing but wickedness. Right? Let's see here. Where was I? Okay, yeah. Faith without works is dead. Let me go to one of the tried and truths, right? All these Christians, they love talking about Jesus. But they don't want to follow what Jesus said. You know? They don't want to follow what Jesus' contemporaries say. You see what I'm saying? We'll go to another contemporary, his blood brother. You see what I'm saying? James 2. You get there. Right? What James say? Faith and works. Faith and works. Right? You see what I'm saying? What doeth profit? Salaki, this is the book of James, chapter 2, verse 14. What doth it profit, my brethren? Though a man say he had faith and have not works, can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye get them not those things which are needful to the body, what do it profit? Even so, faith, if it had not works, is dead being alone, right? Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works, right? That's one of my go-tos, you feel me? Because you can't separate the two. One is dead without the other. You feel me? There is no life if you take one from the other. You understand? All praises. Shout out to the powerful Shatar Gazah in the building. All right. Look, I wanna, if anybody got any more questions, comments, any more situations, shout out to Gazah the Zealot, right? Check that brother out on all social media, Gazah the Zealot on the gram, right? I'm sure he got his Facebook up, but definitely check him out on the gram, right? 1016 Clothing, Wise and Harmless. You feel me? Check that brother out. He making moves, man. He doing big things. Check that brother out, right? Anybody got any other, you know what I'm saying? Anything you want to, you know what I'm saying, add to the discussion or questions or comments? But that's in a nutshell kind of where I wanted to go with it, right? And the reason I wanted to go there is because, like I said, one of the brothers had hit me up with just a question, and we end up having a discussion about, actually he had pulled up Mark 7, right? Because one of his folks was asking him, like, how do you reconcile Mark 7? And I think they might have been reading the ESV because it said, then he made all meats clean, right? So we end up going over some different translations, and then we end up going over comparing it to Matthew and understanding that Matthew was the contemporary, you know, or, you know what I'm saying, the first eyewitness of the scenario and this and that. And so it got me to thinking, the traditions of men, we still suffer from that. We still suffer from the traditions of men. I got one more. Where is that? What was it? I think it's 1 Peter 1. Let's see if that's it. 1 Peter 1. It's like to the point. Let's see. 1 Peter 1. 1 Peter 1, where at? Let's see if this is even it. I think it's 1 and 18. Right here. 1 Peter 1 and 18. Right? The start at 17. The book of 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 17. And if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons judgeth according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning here in fear. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold, for your vain conversation received by traditions of your fathers, right? And it goes on. But with the precious blood of Yahushua, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, right? You see how the sacrificial lamb is a direct metaphor, right? It's just like the manna, like Yahushua and the manna. So that's a whole nother topic we can go into, but you call that a Christophany when there's a spiritual appearance of Yahushua before his manifestation as a man on earth, right? That's a whole nother class, but yeah, right? But with the precious blood of Yahushua, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, right? We talk about Christophanies, right? Foreordained before the foundation of the world. This is Yahushua, right? The prophets, the books talked about it, right? Who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God, right? So, this is a powerful little chapter right here for all of y'all that want to let Christians know that yes, Christ was mentioned over and over again in the Old Testament. You see what I'm saying? Over and over again. What do you say, sis? When I was tithing and found out it was the church was robbing us, I was heated. I thought I was doing the right thing and I always got blessed. I never went without. Who was blessing me? My faith? That's a great question, sis. That's a great question. Because guess what? The Most High have mercy on whom he'll have mercy. You see what I'm saying? Now, the fact that you were diligent and you were given in the true sense of what it was meant to be, that has not, you not the one being wicked if they robbing you. You feel me? But sometimes the Most High gotta take us through some wicked things to bring us closer to him. You see what I'm saying, sis? Because if that church never vexed you and never showed you that they was robbing you like some vipers, you might have never left that church and might have never found its truth. You see what I'm saying? Your spirit is the same spirit that you walk in there right now. It's just that maybe you got a little more according to knowledge through the power of the Most High, because he drew you from that situation and he was rearing you and preparing you for where you at right now. You see what I'm saying? So that ain't nothing but a blessing, because when someone do you wrong, just, you know what I'm saying? When people do you wrong, say, hey, thank God, I don't got to deal with them no more. They going to duck me. You feel me? Ayan Debar says, they going to end up ducking me, right? I had the same disdain for things I seen in the church, right? They talking about the we're gonna have another collection for the ceiling fan fund, right? I'm talking about an old small church with the old wooden pews with no cushion on it, right? No ceiling fans. It's 98 degrees, 90% humidity in the swamps of Georgia, right? And we sitting in there sweating through our suit with the little cardboard white Jesus painting on a popsicle stick, fanning. And the minister steady talking about the ceiling fan fund. And for as long as I can remember, I ain't see no damn ceiling fans, but I see this nigga in a Cadillac. I did the math real quick at a young age. Wicked is wicked. But I tell you what, my great granny never missed a tithe, right? She would go in the coin purse sometimes and put that in the basket. She never missed a tithe. Good Lord. You know what I'm saying? But that wicked pastor, he the one that's going to get it. My great granny, Most High will, you know what I'm saying? In due time, right? That will be a spirit that's, you know what I'm saying? Of you know what I'm saying? Able to enjoy the kingdom, right? But we can't tell who is chosen by the Most High and who is not. You see what I'm saying? We can't tell someone's intention. That's for the Most High. You feel me? But they damn sure bamboozled my great granny. I tell you that much. You feel me? Right? The building fund, chicken dinners, right? You see what I'm saying? You don't see nothing. Chicken dinner, right? You feel me? So look, there we have it. One more thing I mentioned is, faith and works and, doing things physically, right? Woe unto the pastor, sis, right? All praises. Woe unto these pastors, right? That's prophecy. See what I'm saying? That's prophecy right now, right? Let me get that for you. Let me get that for you. Because look, all these wicked pastors, right, that lead the flock astray, you see what I'm saying? They're going to get it. Let me get that in Jeremiah 23. I think it's from the top. Yep. All right. Right, sis? You said it. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, said Yahweh. Right? See, and even we talking through the spirit about Christophanies, this whole is talking about the Messiah and the righteous branch, right? But we know that it's already prophesied that this is going to be happening. And this is one of the things we need saving from is from our damn self. See what I'm saying? Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, said the Lord. Therefore, thus said the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock and driven them away. Sister Tanya, they robbed you blind and drove you away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, said the Lord. Right? But look here, sis, this is what the Most High said he would do for you, right? Because you was diligent, you did what you needed to do, right? You prayed and you was diligent, and he heard you, because he said what? And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, said the Lord. So that's just part of the process, right? That's just part of the process right there. Some of the flock gonna get scattered. Some of the flock gonna realize the pastor robbing them blind, or the deacon sleeping with half of the ladies in the choir. You know, we gonna have to see these things. We have to go through these things, but Lord willing, we in that number of the elect, right? We in that 1/3 that make it through. We got to be tried and true like gold. We got to take our adversity and take our affliction with joy, because we know these things are going to happen to us. We know our own people going to do us wrong. We know our family's going to hate us for not giving you what you mean that baby can't have no Christmas. You know how many people that, you know what I'm saying, that fall out because of Christmas and birthdays? It's because there's a bunch of wickedness going on. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, through the spirit, I was going to bring out one more Christophany, because we was talking about, you know, bread, it being physical or spiritual, you know what I'm saying? And some combination of both, right? And Yahweh Shai saying, man should not live by bread alone. And then you go to Deuteronomy 8, and it shows that, you know, that not living by bread alone is talking about the manna, right? And every word that proceed out of the mouth of the Lord. I'll bring it together for you, because Christians can't see, they can't connect these dots, because they don't see that Yahweh Shai in red letters said, look, I come in the volume of the book. If you would have listened to Moses, you would have listened to me, right? So with that, I'm gonna land the plane in, what is it, John 5? John 5 is a powerful one, right? John 5, right? So, you know, once again, Christ is healing, right? And then he's in Bethesda. You see what I'm saying? I think 21 would be one of the first ones. Yeah, right. So, okay, the Jews looking to kill him because they hating, right? Because he healing people on the Sabbath. Come on, man. Oh, you think you equal to God, right? Niggas is hating, right? But Yahweh Shai got an easy cut for them. He got an easy cut for them. All right, I think let's go to 43. Get to the point. I don't want to belabor the point, right? It's around 43. Okay. He's cutting these niggas left and right. Right. And Yahushua says, let me make sure I got this on the screen. Yahushua says, what's up, family member? All praises. Look, you know, I was just talking on the brother that I had a conversation with earlier, my brother Tom Saint, right? We was going over it. You feel me? Breaking it down, getting some understanding. You know, I felt like it was such a powerful conversation that I might as well, you know what I'm saying, make a lesson out of it. And then through the spirit, you know what I'm saying, we just talk about whatever, and you know, we have a good time in here with this word, right? But John 5, Yahushua cutting these niggas because they hating, right? Because they want to receive honor from men. Same thing, traditions of men. They hating. They mad because he getting the shine and they losing their position in society. Instead of loving their brother that's coming here to save the world that God loved, Israel, right? He says, I receive it not honor from men, but I know you that ye have not the love of God in you, right? What is the love of God? Keeping his commandments. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye shall receive, right? All your wicked family members swear up and down that TD Jakes is the truth, but they don't want to hear, you know what I'm saying, some of the elders speaking this real truth. You feel me? It's no different. Woe unto them pastors, right? It says, how can ye believe which receiveth honor one of, like, how can ye believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that cometh from God only, right? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father, for there is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. Why? Because the Pharisees, they are in the seat of Moses, right? They're the arbiters of the law, the doctors of the law, right? They trust in Moses' words, right? But it says, but they don't have no faith, right? For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Red letter, right? Yahushua said Moses wrote of him. You understand? Where did he write of him? Write of him, right? But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? Man, right? I don't think brothers understand really, right? Because he breaks it down earlier and explains to, it might be the next chapter, right? But you know, we went to Deuteronomy 8 and it talked about the manna, right? Christ breaks it down. Christ, it is John 6. It's the very next chapter, right? John 6, let's start around 30 first, right? 30. All right. Okay. John 6, red letter again, right? Yahushua continuing on. It says, our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written. He gave them bread from heaven to eat, right? Then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven and giveth life unto the world. Ooh, Christ comparing himself in a spiritual sense to the manna. Maybe that got something to do with the angel of God that stood before Pharaoh's army, right? Think about it. But like I said, that's another lesson. Then said they unto him, Lord, evermore give us this bread, right? And Yahushua said unto him, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst, right? And it goes on, you know, that ye shall have seen me and believe not, right? And let's go down, I think it's around 43. Right, this is a power, like, look, You feel me? No man can come unto me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. You see what I'm saying? Yahushua is breaking it down for you in here. As a matter of fact, let's go here. One more scripture. I think it's in that. It's later. 49. Right? I ain't gonna belabor the point, but Lord willing, right? Lord willing, Shalom, Qatar 1. What's up, King? Holla at your boy sometime, man. Check on your loved one sometime. You feel me? My number the same, family. All right. But look, I ain't gonna belabor the point, but you see what I'm saying when I'm talking about, you know, Yahushua is telling you these parallels, right? Who he is and that he been around. You feel me? You got all kind of Christophanies all throughout the Old Testament, and Yahushua is witnessing it on it. You feel me? All right. So next, John 6 is where 49. All right. So read these chapters with a, you know what I'm saying, a closer eye, right? See, right here, Yahushua break it down for him. John 6 and 48. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. Right? Just like when he said, look, take this bread and eat at the Passover. You feel me? All right? What's this said? Okay, got you. Right? But all praises, you know what I'm saying? I think we got some you know what I mean, we got some good interactions in here. All praises the water for the, you know, contributing, right? The water to the little homie Tom Saint for lacing me with that powerful question. And then, you know what I'm saying, we got on the phone and had a little dialogue, and boom, right through the spirit, man. All praise. I appreciate you, family. You know what I'm saying? Right? The water to the sister Tanya. All praises. Always good to see you in here. All right. Shalom, Saint. All right. Holla at your loved one anytime, King. You know what I'm saying? Tar1, man. Holla at your boy. Check in, man. See how you doing, fam. All right. But yeah, look, all praises. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna go ahead and land the plane, right? We're on final approach here, but I'm gonna sit back for about 15, 20 seconds, let this delay kick in. If y'all got any more questions, comments, something to add to, precepts, now is the time, right? And once again, the water to Tom Saint, keeping that $2 drive alive. You feel me? Like, see, Tanya, how YouTube be playing? Like, it'll be, some people it'll be monetized and some it won't. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but I'm gonna look into it. But yeah, with that being said, look, $sign Bazak, Cash App, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit easier to deal with if it's in your heart, you know what I'm saying, to contribute to the ministry, right? I'm gonna give a couple minutes for any last comments, questions, precepts, you know what I'm saying? How were Job's friends in sin? Bring me a precept out, King. Even though that's not on topic, but I know you, so I'm gonna deal with it anyway. Bring out the precept that say that, because he had a lot of friends. You feel me? He had Edomite friends. So, you know, can Edomite sin? Yeah. Fornication, right? So bring out the precept. right? He had friends. His children had friends, right? His children was throwing birthday parties. They were sinning, so everybody at the party was sinning. So yeah, be precise, King. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna hold you to it. Hit me up, Qatar One. We'll chop it up. You feel me? Not tonight though. You know what I mean? Hit me up later with that same question. All right. So that looked like it's about it on this topic. All right, Job 42:7. Let me bring it out real quick. Says we in here every Wednesday, right? 9-ish. You know what I mean? We still be on color people time. You know what I'm saying? But between 9 and 9:30, we get it rolling, right? Every Wednesday. Sometimes we got special guests, right? Right now, I'm holding it down solo because we got, you know what I'm saying, other brothers is doing other missions at the moment, right? But sometimes we have special guests on here. Sometimes some of the people join, right? People from the chat join. All right, so let me get Job. What is it? What was it? 42:7. For my little knucklehead, little brother Qatar. Job 42:7. Okay. God, let me bring it up. Let's read this. The title says, God displeased with Job's friends. And it says, and it was so that after Yahweh had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job had. Right? So, therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him I will accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the things which is right, like my servant Job. Right? So, what you think, Qatar Wine? Right? What you think he's talking about? Because who is Eliphaz? Right? Gold is my God, Eliphaz, the Temanite. Who is that? What does Eliphaz mean? My God is gold, right? Esau's son, father of Teman. So why is Yahweh mad at a Edomite? Huh? Because he's speaking bad against the Most High God to his servant Job. They was like, Job, look, man, why you believing in this God, man? Man, roll with us, bro. Let's be wicked. Man, he done took everything from you. You think the Most High like that? You think the Most High won't punish them for that? Come on, man. See what I'm saying? It's a deeper conversation, but at the same time, you got to understand offerings is not always necessarily from sin, right? It's a lot of different offerings, right? So we'll get into that on a one-on-one, because that's a whole subject, man. Right? That's a whole subject. Right? You know, we'll get into it. We'll get into it, King. All right? All praises, family. Right? For sure, sis. Hey, all praises, sis. Look, always glad to have you, sis. You feel me? Right? And look, we appreciate y'all, Mashpaka family, right? All praises for joining us and participating. Lord willing, there was some edification, a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, fun and You know what I'm saying? Fellowship to go along with it. Right? Right? So look, with that, I'm going to give Call Halal Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. And I'm going to say, Kwam Yashra.